मधुरं गायसी वनमाली मधुरं गायसी वनमाली गायसी वनमाली मधुरं गायसी वनमाली मधुरं गायसी वनमाली पुष्पसुगन्धसुमलय समीरे पुष्पसुगन्धसुमलय समीरे पावन मुनिजन यमुनातीरे पुष्पसुगन्ध सुमलय समीरे सुगंध सुमलय समीरे पावन मुनिजन यमुना तीरे अयसी वनमाली मधुरं गायसी वनमाली मधुरं गायसी वनमाली गायसी वनमाली गायसी वनमाली खेलती रागद्वेषमुखासुरमाली रागद्वेषमुखासुरमाली खेलति मम हृदये श्रीरामा खेलति मम हृदये खेलति मम हृदये श्रीरामा खेलति मम हृदये परमहंससाम्राज्योद्धारि 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 परमहंस साम्राज्योद्धारि सत्यज्ञानानंद शरीर सत्यज्ञानानंद शरीर खेलति मम हृदये श्रीरामा खेलति मम हृदये खेलति मम हृदये श्रीरामा खेलति मम हृदये मोहमहानवतारकधारि मोहमहानवतारकधारि मोहमहार्णव तारकधारी मोहमहार्णव तारकधारी मोहमहार्णव तारकधारी मोहमहारकधारी रागद्वेषमुखासुरमा रागद्वेषमुखासुरमा खेलति मम हृदये श्रीरामा खेलति मम हृदये खेलति मम हृदये श्रीरामा खेलति मम हृदये श्रीरामा खेलति मम हृदये चरणं मङ्गलचरणौ मम गुरुचरणं शीतलचरणं कोमलचरणं मङ्गलचरणौ मम गुरुचरणं मृदुलचरणौ अनुग्रहचरणौ मृदुलचरणौ अनुग्रहचरणौ सद्गुरुचरणौ सदा भजामि सद्गुरुचरणौ सदा भजामि शीतलचरणौ कोमलचरणं मञ्जुलचरणं मम गुरुचरणं शीतलचरणं कोमलचरणं मञ्जुलचरणं मम गुरुचरणं प्रेमदाता प्राणनाथा प्रेमदाता प्राणनाथा प्राणनाथा सद्गुरुनाथा प्रभाता सद्गुरुनाथा सद्गुरुचरणौ सदा भजामि सद्गुरुचरणौ सदा भजामि शीतलचरणं कोमलचरणं मञ्जुलचरणौ शीतलचरणं कोमलचरणं मञ्जुलचरणौ मम गुरुचरणं मञ्जुलचरणौ मम गुरुचरणं मञ्जुलचरणौ मम गुरुचरणम् हरे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा मुरली गान सरसिज नेत्रा मुरली गान सरसिज नेत्रा मंदहास वदना हरे कृष्णा मंदहास वदना हरे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा शङ्खचक्रपीताम्बरधारि शङ्खचक्रपीताम्बरधारि मोहनमुरलीलोला मोहनमुरलीलोला राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा मुरलीगान सरसिजनेत्रा मुरलीगान सरसिजनेत्रा मन्दहासवदना हरे कृष्णा मन्दहासवदना हरे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा चक्रपीताम्बरधारि शङ्खचक्रपीताम्बरधारि मोहनमुरलीलोला मोहनमुरलीलोला राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा श्रीगान सरसिजनेत्रा मुरलीगान सरसिजनेत्रा मन्दहासवदना हरे कृष्णा मन्दहासवदना हरे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा राधे कृष्णा ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै शांति शांति। Together we will chant Mundakopanishad invocation. ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति। Together we will chant the Mundakopanishad, chapter 2, section 2, mantras 1 to 11, please. This is Upanishad, chapter 2, section 2, mantras 11, mantras 1 to 11. This is the chanting. We are going to start. आविसन्निहितं गुहाचरं नाम महत्पदमैतत्समर्पितम् एतत्प्राणन्निमिषश्च यदेतज्जानथ सदसद्वरेण्यं परं विज्ञानात् यद्वरिष्ठं प्रजानां यदर्चिमद्यदणुभ्योऽणु च यस्मिल्लोकानिहितालोकिनश्च तदेतदक्षरं ब्रह्म सप्राणस्तदुवाङ्मनः तदेतत्सत्यं तदमृतं तद्वेधव्यं सोम्य विद्धि धनुर्गृहीत्वोपनिषदं महास्त्रं शरं ह्युपासामिषितं सन्धयीत आयम्यतद्भावगतेन चेतसा लक्ष्यं तदेवाक्षरं सोम्य विद्धि प्रणवो धनुष्शरो ह्यात्मा ब्रह्मतल्लक्ष्यमुच्यते अप्रमत्तेन वेधव्यं शरवत्तन्मयो भवेत् यस्मिन् द्वौ पृथिवी चान्तरिक्षमोतं मनः सह प्राणैश्च सर्वैः तमेवैकं जानत आत्मानमन्याथा च विमुञ्चतामृतस्यैष सेतुः हरायिवरतनाभौ संहता यत्र नाढ्यः स येषोऽंसश्चरते बहुधा जायमानः ओमित्येवं ध्यायत आत्मानं स्वस्ति वः पाराय तमसः परस्तात् त्वज्ञः सर्ववेद्यस्यैकमहिमा भुवि दिव्ये ब्रह्मपुरे ह्येष व्योम्यात्मा प्रतिष्ठितः मनोमयः प्राणशरीरनेता प्रतिष्ठितो मे हृदयं सन्निधाय आत्मज्ञानेन परिपश्यन्ति धीरा आनन्दरूपममृतं यद्विभाति ते हृदयग्रन्थिश्छिद्यन्ते सर्वसंशयाः क्षीयन्ते स्वस्य कर्माणि तस्मिन् दृष्टे परावरे हिरण्मये परे कोशे विरजं ब्रह्म निष्कलम् तच्छुभ्रं ज्योतिषां ज्योतिस्तद्विदात्मविदो विदुः न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चन्द्रतारकं नेमो विद्युतो भान्ति कुतोऽयमग्निः तमेव भाहिमनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति ब्रह्मैवेदममृतं पुरस्ताद् ब्रह्म पश्चाद् ब्रह्म दक्षिणतश्चोत्तरेण आदश्चोर्ध्वं च प्रसृतं ब्रह्मैवेदं विश्वमिदं वरिष्ठम्. In the previous class, we have studied the mantra 5, which is talking about the Brahman, the Supreme God, in whom all this macrocosm and the microcosm all dwell, reside. The mind, individual, which is the body, mind, intellect, and the macrocosm, which is the earth and heaven and interspace, all are in the Supreme God, Brahman and Brahman alone. Desist from all other talk, because there is nothing worth talking about except thinking about Brahman, because the Brahman is the supreme consciousness, the pure consciousness, that infinite substratum, infinite mass of reality in which the whole universe, whole cosmos is dwelling. Him alone as the one self. Know him. You must realize that the self alone is the ultimate source of everything, and desist from all other talk means should never entertain anything else except Brahman and Brahman alone. This is the bridge of immortality. This is the bridge, means this is the path to reach the reality. So there exists nothing other than Brahman. All this macrocosm and the microcosm is nothing but the expressions of Brahman. Brahman is everywhere and all pervading, and everything is in it, in Brahman, and Brahman accommodates everything. So the declaration implies the world is nothing but a mere superimposition, an imaginary projection upon that one reality, the Supreme God. Because of the entanglement in the world, by the world, people plunged into the perceptions, emotions, and thoughts and completely lost the sight of Brahman. They lost the cognition of Supreme God. This is what we have covered in the last mantra. The whole humanity is completely caught up in the darkness of ignorance because of the lost sight of the reality, and plunged into perceptions and actions of the physical body, emotions and feelings of the mind, and thoughts and ideas and ideologies of the intellect. The guru, the master here, the enlightened soul who experiencing the infinite consciousness, the pure self, the Atman, he deplores this state of entire humanity who are lost in this imaginary world, the illusion, the waking dream and deep sleep. This entire cosmos, this entire universe itself is a figment of imagination. The guru deplores the state of humanity, the preoccupation with the affairs of the world, and advises the seeker, advises the devotees, the disciples, to pursue Brahman, to pursue God, and never entertain, desist from all other talk. Never entertain anything else except Brahman and Brahman alone. Desist from all other talk. We are caught up in everything else except Brahman and Brahman alone. Speech is one of the organs representing all organs of action. Used here to represent the every organ, all organs. Desisting from other talk would mean discarding activity which are not in line with realizing the self, other than leading to Brahman. So you got to pour out all your energies, all your efforts, all your activities of physical body, all your activities of the mind and the intellect. Whole personality should be geared, channelized, directed, dedicated towards the achievement of Brahman, towards the realization of Brahman. To merge with the Brahman is the mantra highlighting. Desist from all other talk means never entertain anything else other than Brahman and Brahman alone, the Supreme God. That single pointed application, that single pointed effort to reach Brahman alone bridges. Once you fix the intellect, the self-realization is the goal, and the intellect guides the body and mind towards the achievement of the self. That pursuit alone bridges the gulf between your existing condition of mortality to the immortality, and the both bridge is only the path of reality, the path of the self. Study and imbibing the knowledge of reality. The seeker then, when he is committed and dedicated, he will achieve the supreme self in this very lifetime. This is the mantra highlight. The great mantra which is talking about desisting from all other thing. What a powerful statement. Never entertain, but every human being is caught up in everything else. The two powerful forces caught up by humanity is kanchanam and kamini, acquisition and enjoyment. In this imaginary world, the whole world grips the human being, and the people are lost in the acquisition and enjoyment. These are the two motivating forces, powerful forces, bringing the human being to the mortality. This is the preoccupation of every human being, almost all human beings today, that you acquire, whole life you spend in acquisition, and having acquired, you would like to enjoy what you acquire. This is the sad plight of every human being. You acquire a tennis court and you enter into the court to play the game. That is acquisition and enjoyment. You acquire a house, you purchase a house, that is acquisition, and you enjoy living in that house, which is enjoyment. So this is the condition of every human being. Here is the mantra is telling that desist from all others talk. Desist from every activity which is taking you away from the self, distancing from the self, making you disconnected from the self is to be discarded, should be rejected. You need a powerful intellect. But in this quagmire of acquisition and enjoyment, hardly any human being thinks with his intellect to search and pursue the Brahman beyond this acquisition and enjoyment, beyond this preoccupation, beyond this worldly affairs, to think something other than acquisition and enjoyment pulls you away from this world and puts you on the pedestal towards the path of reality. The Brahman, the Supreme God, the human being alone has this great choice of action. This choice of action makes the human being a masterpiece of creation, chef d'oeuvre of creation. But the exercising the choice on what basis is the question. People making choices based on the whims and fancies of the mind and losing themselves in the quagmire of perceptions, emotions, and thoughts, and lost the sight of the divinity, the godliness, the God consciousness, the pure Brahman, Atman is completely obliterated, completely lost sight. And this desire-ridden worldly figment of imaginary world, people are caught up in the affairs of the world and then complain about the suffering and sorrows thereof. This is the thing, mantra, the master here deploring the state of humanity, saying that the Guru deplores the very preoccupation in the world, affairs of the world, and advises compassionately the seeker to desist from all other talk, means to refrain from every activity which is taking you away from this pursuit of the Brahman and Brahman alone, because Brahman and Brahman alone exists, nothing else. That's what the highlighting in this mantra. Therefore, you got to invest, you got to commit, you got to fix your goal as Brahman only, and nothing short of it is the Guru's proclamation, advice, declaration, and vehemently saying that desist from any other action, any other feeling, any other thought which is taking you away from the self and towards the world. You must desist all other activity with such a single pointed application, such a committed application, effort, consistent effort to reach the Brahman, to realize the Supreme God, the Self, alone bridges, that alone connects you, bridges you, the gulf between your conditioning of mortality to the deconditioning of immortality. The mortality means birth and death, and birth and death, everyone is caught up this cycle of birth and death. Nobody is exempt from this cycle, and nobody is aware. They are blissfully unaware of this cycle. They are caught up and they are complacent about it. They are completely fine. If you ask anyone, stop and ask, how are you? I am fine. Nothing is fine, because you are in condition of very, very quagmire of perceptions, emotions, thoughts of suffering and sorrow state. But to claim to be fine is a very source. The foundation itself is a big quagmire. You got to realize that. And this conditioned state, this limited state, you have to come out and recognize the pursuit of the self and pursue it to the commitment to the hilt. Then only you can reach the immortality. So with that single pointed application, single pointed effort to reach the Brahman alone will bridge the gulf between mortality and the immortality. The immortality means the deathless, birthless state, a state of godhood, a state of your own self, which is your true nature, your real identity at this moment is completely lost. That identity you got to get back, vehemently declared by these Mahatmas in this mantra. The seeker attains that immortality, enjoys the enlightened state only through the application of single pointedly, the single pointed dedicated effort to reach Brahman is alone is the focus, nothing else. Desist from all other talk. The beautiful mantra will recite again. Yasmin dvau prithvi chantarikshmotam manah saha pranaischa sarvaihi तमेवैकं जानथ आत्मानं अन्यावाचो विमुञ्चथ आमृतस्यैष सेतुः अन्यावाचा विमुञ्चथ. Desist from any other talk. Talk means any other activity, any other feeling, any other emotion which is away from this supreme reality and taking you to this imaginary world of projected illusion and thinking about it is real is the highest tragedy fell upon the human beings is the highlighting here. Never accept this and get to that Brahman and supreme reality. This is just an imaginary projection. A world is nothing but a superimposition. Your whole universe, this whole cosmos is an imaginary projection upon the reality. Just as gold ornaments are simply nama and rupa, name and form, the metal, the gold metal is the reality. All these name and forms are a projected, a created, an imaginary superimposition upon the gold metal. Similarly, friends, this whole cosmos, these objects and beings, that's this whole world of the plurality, the whole world of heterogeneity of all living beings is nothing but a imaginary projection, superimposition upon that Brahman, the Supreme God, got to realize and pursue it, Brahman, single pointedly until you reach it by understanding this knowledge, because this, if not, you will get ensnared by the world. At this moment, everybody is entangled, ensnared, enmeshed by the perceptions, emotions, and thoughts and got lost in it. You have lost the cognition of reality, disconnected from Brahman and contact, completely caught up in the world. This state is deplored highly by Guru and trying to guide us towards the unfoldment of Supreme God Brahman by pursuing Brahman consistently till you reach it. That is the way you bridge the gulf between your state of mortality to the achievement of immortality. This is the only way. There is nothing short of it. Nothing will take you to enlightenment except your single pointed dedication, commitment to pursue Brahman and reach Brahman. There is no other way to it. Is the guidance and advice given by the mantra 5. Now, having understood by the Guru that our mission in life is to pursue Brahman and reach the Supreme God, with this commitment and dedication, we will act in this world, use the body by performing obligatory duties and responsibilities, physical body. Every action must be for achievement of the Brahman, nothing short of it. No interest in anything the world offers. You may incidentally gain the comforts, gain the sense objects. You may be achieving name and fame, power, position, status, all other things which is world offers you. But you should not be interested. You should be least interested. because your interest and attention is shifted from this terrestrial world to the transcendental reality. That alone will take you to the self. Nothing short of it is the mantra highlighting. So you channelize the physical body to all the activities and perceptions towards the self, to reach the self, to reach Atman. Similarly, your emotions, your feelings must be channelized towards the Supreme God, the devotion, the bhakti, the love for the fellow beings. You change the preferential attachment to universal love. Right now, every emotion is self centered, selfish. You love everyone because they cater to you, they supply what you want, they make your demands fulfilled. Therefore, you love and you claim to be loving them. You love because they are personally attached to you to feed your likes and dislikes, to feed your ego and egocentric desires. You claim to be loving everyone. It's a misconception. The true love is devotion. Devotion to God is the true love. You don't have any preferential relationship, but universal love is the devotion to God. So you channelize the first, you chasten the mind, purify the mind, cleanse the mind by cultivating positive emotions from negative emotions. Then those emotions must be subtilized, sharpened, chastened, purified, and divinized. So you love everyone because you got to serve the, you got to help them, you got to serve them for achievement of Brahman. So love must be translated into action of service and sacrifice. So your love is established only when you understand the divinity in that person, the Godhood, the Supreme Self. You could be able to envision. Then you start service, sacrifice, and embracing the mind. Mind accommodates. This is the intellectual understanding. So when the love, when the emotion channelized to higher objects and beings, it becomes devotion. When the same emotion channelized to lower objects and beings, it becomes love. So emotion being the same, the direction determines what is the kind of devotion or love, what is the type of quality of that emotion. So as a human being, you cultivate devotion towards the higher beings by channelizing to the Supreme God, the Atman, which is the Brahman, the reality, who is source of everything. You perceive divinity in every experience. You see the all the splash of divinity in every aspect of the world. You convert the whole world into divine being, the supreme being, the Vishwarupa Sandarshana Yoga. You see the whole world as one unit of body which is serving, sacrificing selflessly. You see the divinity everywhere, like Prahlada, like Dhruva, like Hanuman. This capacity to see the divinity everywhere is the elements of true devotion, true Godhood. You have nothing but direct connection with the Godhood. That is the elements of devotion. You surrender to the unknown, invisible power which is supporting, sustaining, and maintaining you. You cut yourself. There are millions of forces. Come and repair that bruise. The heart is pumping from the day one you are born till today, till you pass away. The heart never takes a break or weekend or vacation. You look for weekend, you look for vacation, you look for a break from work, you look for retirement, but the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, the whole pancreas, whole system within you only working tirelessly, completely, consistently for your welfare, and recognizing the infinite blessings provided by this unknown providence is the elements of true devotion. Recognizing, just awareness of that infinite blessings showered on you for your existence. The temperature is maintained inside and outside. Slightest change in the temperature, you will be cease to exist. The sun is radiating light, the sun is giving the energy, it is the ultimate source of energy, it is giving for your sustenance, it is giving light, a brilliant light, which we acknowledge by awareness through the mantra, the Gayatri mantra, Om Bhur Bhuvaswaha Tat Saviturvarenyam. Brilliant sun, effulgent, self-effulgent sun is radiating light for your sustenance. Recognizing and saluting, salutations is the elements of devotion. A feeling towards divinity is to be cultivated, is to be recognized by pure awareness of the blessings. The earth yields vegetation. Year after year, you consume grains, food, every season, because earth is providing tirelessly, ceaselessly, continuously. It never says enough, I don't want to give. Earth keeps on rotating around the sun and providing its support for your sustenance. The cloud gives rain, fills all the tanks, all the water bodies, and then raises the water table for your own health and vigor and energy. Every aspect of this universe is functioning for your welfare. But what is the human being is doing? More harm than good to this world. And who is suffering most? Human being is suffering most. This is the law. You got to get it by hilt. By bayonet's point, you must recognize the divinity everywhere, splashed everywhere, the divine blessings everywhere. The splash of divinity showering its blessings on for your ultimate growth and sustenance and peace and happiness. Therefore, the recognizing the divine blessings followed by gratitude. Thank you for coming to the sun. Thank you for going. That is Gayatri Mantra. By gratitude, you have fundamental elements of devotion. But generally say, I purchased my land and I am growing seeds. I am cultivating. It is my own property. I am producing the earth and the vegetation and cultivation. It is my own land. This is the height of ego and arrogance. Zero elements of devotion. Sab tera, nothing mera. Everything is thine, nothing is mine. That is the attitude. No doership, no enjoyership, no ego, egocentric desires. Everything is oblated to the Supreme God, the Atman, is the fundamental elements of devotion, is the Mahatmas advising to change your mind from the base emotions to the divine love and divine feelings, kindness and happiness. Then comes the knowledge. The intellect must be fixed on the gaining of the knowledge of the self. You must distinguish constantly what is permanent, what is impermanent, and associate, connect, try to pursue, try to plunge into what is permanent rather than what is impermanent. Then you are pursuing the knowledge of reality. Your intellect starts growing. towards the permanent aspects. That's what the Adi Shankaracharya in his Bhajgovindam he declares, he clearly defines what is Jnanam, is Nitya, Anitya, Viveka, Vicharam. It is constantly, intellect should be engaged in thinking on the distinction between the permanent and impermanent aspects of the world. Then you have the elements of true knowledge, the knowledge of reality, the self-knowledge, only the reality which takes you to the immortality, which gives you supreme peace and bliss beyond this world, beyond this physical body, beyond this mind and feelings and emotion, beyond the thoughts and ideas of the intellect lies your supreme being. That is your real being. That is your Atman, the self. The self is the pure consciousness, which you got to realize and get to the core of your personality, which is within you. That takes you to the immortality, is advised by the Mahatma, the master in this mantra, the seeker. With that committed pursuit, he will reach the enlightenment. He will attain the enlightenment. Is the mantra highlighting. Now we get on to the mantra 6. We will chant the mantra 6. Arayivarathanabhau samhata yatra nadhyaha sayeshontascharate bahuda jayamanaha omityevam dhyayata atmanam swastivah paraya tamasah parastad. We will repeat the chanting. Arayivarathanabhau samhata yatra nadhyaha sayeshonstascharate bahuda jayamanaha omityevam dhyayata atmanam swastivah paraya tamasah parastad. It's very interesting mantra. Now, having understood the mantra 5, he is explaining the mantra 6 now, where the nerves, nadhyaha means nerves, meet like the spokes in the hub of a wheel. A chariot wheel is the center is called hub. The wheel has an infinite number of spokes around the hub, holding the hub, which is the wheel is intact because of the spokes and hub. Where the nerves meet like spokes in the hub of a chariot wheel, he means the Supreme God Brahman within you, becoming this manifold. He is becoming the same Brahman, became the infinite pluralistic phenomena in the macrocosm and microcosm. He himself is split up into the spokes like the macrocosm and microcosm of this whole heterogeneity. The diversity is nothing but the same Brahman split into like spokes of the wheel coming from the hub. Therefore, what has to be done? Meditate thus. You got to think, contemplate, reflect and meditate. Fix your thought on the Atman. By considering what is the Atman? By taking the symbol Om. Om mantra represents the Brahman, the supreme reality. If you fix your interest and attention and reflect, meditate on the Om mantra, which is symbolizing the Atman within you, then you reach the enlightenment. Bless you. So Guru blesses you in crossing over tamas, which is ignorance. So you landed in this universe because of ignorance of your reality, ignorance of your real identity, ignorance of who you are. You're lost and caught up in this imaginary projection of this world. So Guru is guiding to uplift the humanity in this Upanishads to reach to the very threshold of the enlightenment. A guru can guide you till that threshold. He cannot make you enlightened. You got to use your faculties and reach that state, just like a pole vaulting. Guru can only help you to that last point. The individual has to. It is like any other examples you can have. Guru can give you knowledge of every textbook, but who has to get the pass of a degree examination? Who has to write? Is the individual's effort. Guru has no role to play in getting the certificate or passing the exam. It is only up to the point of guiding and giving knowledge, educating us till the threshold, the very verge of enlightenment, the very threshold, very point short of enlightenment. From that point onwards, one has to put effort and go beyond by oneself. Therefore, Guru says, bless you, bye-bye. No Guru can help you from that point onwards. So he says, just blessings and bye-bye. You got to cross yourself and go to the transcendental reality, the immortality. So, this is a great mantra again, the Guru giving us the guidance and helping us towards the Brahman, to reach Brahman. Here again, a striking metaphor. He gives example to explain that inexplicable Brahman. Brahman is inexplicable, undefinable, unreachable through intellectual concepts. But all the concepts, all the examples will help us to have some idea to hang on, to anchor, to uplift ourselves from this bondage of the world. You get freedom to reach the immortality. That is the purpose. So, Brahman exists like the hub of a wheel with spokes emerging from it. Brahman is like a hub from where the whole spokes emerge in a wheel. So, the spokes are compared to the nadis inside you, like a nervous system, translated as nerves. But nerves can be physically perceptible, physically seen. But the nadi is something subtler, something intangible, insubstantial. Therefore, you can't see them. Nadis, they are unseen. Nadis are those maybe appropriately mean. So, what are the nadis? You can have some kind of imaginary understanding, like the sun is one, but the rays are infinite, which are spreading from the sun, the supreme consciousness. So, the sun is one, the rays are infinite, they are emerging from the sun. Similarly, the one pure consciousness is there. The all are rays of consciousness coming from that one pure consciousness. So, Brahman, the Supreme God, is located in the individual. So, you are made up of, every human being is constituted of spirit and matter. So, matter is the body, mind, intellect, and spirit is the Atman, the self, the consciousness. When the consciousness combined to matter, then you become individualized. You become conditioned. You lose your pure consciousness, become conditioned consciousness. This conditioning is brought about by the material equipments, not by the pure consciousness. The pure consciousness, when it contacts the body, you become conscious of enters, conscious of perception and action. It is the pure consciousness functioning through the mind becomes conditioned consciousness using the feelings and emotional personality. It is a pure consciousness within functioning through the intellect, conceives thoughts and ideas, becomes conditioned consciousness, the individual. So the consciousness within is the hub. The conditioned consciousness are infinite in number, like a rays of the sun are millions, plenty, but sun is one. So you are the supreme consciousness, the pure consciousness functioning in you. Through your body, you are conscious of the perceptions and action. Through your mind, the same consciousness feels the conscious of various emotions. And through the intellect, you are conscious of thoughts and ideologies. You are conscious of. The moment anything you are conscious of, you become conditioned, limited, imprisoned consciousness, lost the pure consciousness. The pure consciousness, thus the pure consciousness becomes manifold conditioned consciousnesses. That is, the one pure consciousness became this variety of living beings which are nothing but the conditioned consciousness. Living beings, inert objects, all this plant, animal, human, billions of them is nothing but manifold conditioned consciousness constituting this world. All the beings in this world are nothing but conditioned consciousness. So the supreme consciousness is the origin, the one pure consciousness, one supreme. It's like when the sun incident ray, when the sun rays fall onto the trough of water and the ray gets refracted, that is called refracted ray. This is the pure consciousness, this is the conditioned consciousness because of the trough of water, which is nothing but full of thoughts. When the pure consciousness strikes the thoughts, then the conditioned consciousness arises. The individual arises, the diversity arises, the plurality arises. So the Guru gives the guidance that your goal is the supreme consciousness, the pure consciousness, not this conditioned consciousness you get stuck by. The supreme consciousness is the origin and the goal of every human existence. It's the goal of human existence. So human being alone has to understand that he is conditioned and he has to decondition by realizing and getting back to the pure consciousness, God consciousness, which is consciousness without offness, without conditioning. So Guru advises the disciple for reaching the Brahman, the Supreme God, what he has to do. Guru advises to meditate upon that Atman all the time, the pure consciousness all the time, nothing short of it. Never think anything else. That is the previous mantra also. Desist from all other things except the contemplating, thinking about Atman and Atman alone, pure consciousness alone. By using what? The mantra Om. The mantra Om is most potent, is considered most powerful word symbol used in meditation only. So after crossing all the spiritual practices, reached the renunciation through karma, bhakti, jnana, finished all the desires and thoughts, and only one thing left is to reach the Brahman, realize the Brahman, enlightenment, nothing else. Such a mind which is to be put in this Om mantra considered the goal of Brahman. It is an idol representing the divine ideal of Brahman. You need something known terrestrial symbol to represent the transcendental reality which is unknown, ideal. Spiritual initiates, beginners, students who are at the beginning stage, they cannot meditate on Om because there are too many desires. Therefore, they need a gross idols like a temple or church or mosque, a statues, a stone idol, which represents the God, the supreme Brahman only, but it is gross. The more you grow spiritually, you don't need gross idols. You automatically gravitate in remembrance of Brahman by any kind of a mantra or thought or idea or a sound is enough to help you to connect to Brahman, the thought of Brahman, the supreme God. So it depends upon where you stand in the evolutionary ladder. As the seeker progress in the spiritual path, they only choose a subtle idol like fire, earth to fire, fire to sound, etc. The most advanced spiritual seeker chooses the sound, subtlest of all idols, which is the mantra Om. So it is considered the subtlest, more than Om, nothing else is there. Because only one of the 5 sense organs can contact. Because stone can be contacted with all 5 organs. So gross to subtle, based on the number of organs contacting, sense organs contacting. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin. So ear can only contact the sound. No other organ can contact the Om mantra. Therefore, Om is the most potent, most subtlest idol symbol representing the immortal Brahman, the supreme God, is your human ultimate goal. Om is considered the most potent, most powerful, and most natural and easy to follow. Even the mute means a person who is dumb, who can't speak, who is mute, dumb, can produce that sound of Om. That is the beauty of the mantra Om. So because it is natural. So Om is split into 3 letters. So Om mantra is also defined as 3 letters because it represents 3 states of consciousness. A, U, M. A, U, M. Put together Om. A, U, M. Put together Om in Sanskrit. It's split into 3 letters. So A, and U become O. Coalesced to become O. This Om is same as Om. The symbol Om stands for the pure consciousness, the God consciousness, the Atman, the reality, which is your true nature of your original being. You lost that at this moment and got conditioned by this personality, this individuality. You belong to that infinite Satchidananda. You are that Atman, the pure self. You can get back only through connecting by contemplating on mantra Om, pure consciousness, which supports that pure consciousness, that God consciousness supports your current states of waking state, dream state and deep sleep state, which every human being is caught up at this moment. Either you are in the waking state when you are awake, and when you go to bed, you either in the dream or in the deep sleep. These are the 3 states. Whole life you are revolving. Waking, dream, deep sleep. Waking, dream, deep sleep. Nobody knows any other state except these 3. Every human being is lost in these states of consciousness. But these are all not your original states. These are all your temporary states. The real state of you is the pure consciousness. This is the conditioned consciousness. Waking, dream and deep sleep states, which is represented by A is the waking state, U is the dream state, M is the deep sleep state in the mantra Om, And the source of these three states is the Supreme God, Brahman, the pure consciousness, the Om represents. So, the pure consciousness percolates and permeates and continues in every state of consciousness. You cannot get rid of the pure consciousness in every state. All states, the I, the pure consciousness, comes because it is the real source. The waking state is temporary, dream state is temporary, deep sleep state is temporary, but the pure consciousness is the permanent. So the Guru therefore advises the disciple to be constantly attuned to that pure consciousness, constantly be aware, recognize, and conscious of that pure consciousness in and through all your transactions of your day-to-day affairs. That constant fixation, like an actor on the stage, he ever maintains his real identity, even though he is going through various characters, roles he plays on the stage. He constantly remember his name, his original identity. Similarly, you got to remember this pursuit, this mission of human being is to reach the pure consciousness and merge into the pure consciousness and realize the reality. That is the only mission of human birth. No other thing. Everything is false and imaginary. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. This whole world and whole life is an imaginary figment of imagination, an illusion, a projection. What is behind is the reality, the pure God, pure consciousness, which has to be realized by breaking this conditioned consciousness. So, Guru therefore advises the disciple to be constantly aware and meditate upon pure consciousness, meditate upon God consciousness, and rise above these three states of conditioned consciousness. You are not the waker, you are not the dreamer, you are not the deep sleeper, because this waker, which you believe yourself be now, is not existing in the dream or deep sleep. You experience nothingness in the deep sleep and another personality in the dreamer. As a dreamer, you experience the dream world. Is different from what you experience as a waker in the waking world. In the waking state, you may be an athlete, a runner, an Olympic runner, a master in sports, a great achiever. But in the dream, you are a handicap, an invalid, wheelchair, suffering from terminal disease, bedridden. And that's completely a different state. And you are the person who are going through the terminal disease and terrible pain and suffering in the dream, which has no clue connected. The dreamer doesn't know what is the enjoyment of a sprinter of that in the waking state. No communication. And in the deep sleep state, both the athlete and the runner, both the invalid person, handicap, both become zero. Then who are you? Are you the waker? No. If you are a waker, you should be permanently everywhere, but it's not there in the dream and deep sleep. Therefore, what is the permanent in all these three is the pure consciousness, the God consciousness. So, in the end, after realization of this pursuit of the Supreme Self, the mantra gives the path to reach Brahman. In the end, Guru blesses the disciple to cross over the ignorance and attain the God consciousness, the spiritual enlightenment. Guru can only give the knowledge, but he cannot give the enlightenment. Disciple has to reach that. So, Guru can only help to reach the ultimate point before realization, extreme point of single pointed meditation upon the reality. Thereafter, the disciple has to help himself. Hence, the Guru leaves him with his blessings. With this, we commit ourselves to the goal of Brahman and try to put all our efforts, channelize our activities towards the achievement of Brahman is the advice we try to follow. We'll continue in the next class, the mantra 7. Thank you very much. Hari Om.